You think it's just shortness of breath, right? A little cough here, some tightness in your chest there. Probably just anxiety, they say. But what if I told you that what you're brushing off could be a silent warning of something much bigger? Asthma is sneaky, and when it shows up quietly, it's often too late to realize what's happening. There are people living for years with inflammation in their bronchi and don't even know it. And the worst part? Many doctors don't catch it either. Your body is screaming, and we call it stress. But today, you're going to uncover what almost no one talks about: the invisible signs, the most common triggers, and how making a change now could save your quality of life, or even your life itself. If life has taught us anything, it's that it doesn't follow predictable scripts. Asthma, for instance, isn't some childhood issue like many still believe. It can hit you at 6 or at 60. Lucrecio, a healthy executive, found this out at 42. He jogged in the park, ate well, never had a health scare. Until one day, after sweeping his garage, he felt an odd shortness of breath. It passed, then came back. That's when he realized it wasn't just fatigue or a mild allergy, it was bronchial inflammation. What's even more fascinating is that sometimes the trigger doesn't come from inside, but from outside. The environment we live in affects us more than we realize. Pollution, cigarette smoke, mold, any of these can light the fuse. Studies even show that exposure to pollution during pregnancy can alter a baby's lung development. Now think about the impact on an adult who's been breathing city air for decades, especially in places like Los Angeles, where air quality can shift from okay to awful real quick. And when it comes to allergies, things get even trickier. People who are genetically prone to asthma can experience worsening symptoms just from being near a cat. And no, it's not being dramatic, it's science. Pet dander can activate the immune system in an exaggerated way, leading to inflammation in the bronchi. If you've ever had a coughing fit or chest tightness after visiting someone with a dog, it might not have been a fluke. That was your body waving a red flag. It doesn't matter if you work out every day, eat clean, or have no history of respiratory problems. Asthma doesn't have a typical profile. Sure, genetics play a role, but so does the air you breathe, the products you clean your home with, even the city you live in. And if what you've read so far has you thinking, wait, this sounds like me, just hang tight, because there are a few invisible enemies around you that are far more common than you'd expect. And hey, if this content is hitting home for you, drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Imagine an enemy you can't see, can't hear, and don't feel coming, yet it suddenly takes over your body. That's exactly how respiratory viruses behave in people with asthma. A simple rhinovirus, the kind that causes a common cold, can trigger a serious asthma attack. And no, it's not an exaggeration. For those genetically predisposed, these viruses act like a match lighting a fire in the bronchi. The inflammation flares up, symptoms get worse, and breathing becomes a real struggle. Literally. Now add to that another factor most people don't even consider: obesity. Yes, excess body fat directly impacts asthma severity. Fat tissue releases inflammatory substances that worsen the condition and make the bronchi even more sensitive. And it's not just about breathing harder. It's about facing more frequent, more intense, and harder to control symptoms. In the U.S., studies show that adults with obesity are hospitalized more often for asthma attacks than those with a healthy weight. And speaking of control, did you know asthma is divided into zones? Green, yellow, and red. Most people have no idea. Being in the green zone means your asthma is under control with minimal symptoms. But here's the harsh truth. Only 12% of asthma patients in Brazil are in the green zone. The rest? They live bouncing between risk and instability, often because they don't know how serious their condition is, or they don't follow their treatment plan. It's a mix of poor guidance, lack of routine, and sometimes no diagnosis at all. The point is this: there's way more behind that persistent cough or the breathlessness at the end of the day. It could be pollution, viruses floating around, hidden obesity, or simply unmanaged asthma. But the worst part? Not knowing. While someone believes they're doing just fine, their body is silently begging for help. Breathing well shouldn't depend on luck. You got to recognize the signs, understand the triggers, and make adjustments. And next, you'll see it's absolutely possible to live well. In fact, physical activity might be your secret weapon, not your enemy. Breathing well is a privilege, but keeping it that way takes action. And no, avoiding stairs or skipping workouts isn't the answer. One of the biggest myths still floating around is that people with asthma should avoid physical activity. In reality, it's quite the opposite. Activities like swimming, light walking, Pilates, and even strength training, when properly guided, help strengthen the lungs and reduce inflammation in the bronchi. It's like training your body to breathe better, stronger, and with more awareness. And yes, you can start small. Just 3 sessions a week can make a huge difference. Of course, none of this works if you're constantly surrounded by triggers. Old carpets, strong cleaning products, car exhaust, even your coworker's cologne can be hidden enemies. Small changes, like replacing curtains with blinds, keeping windows open for airflow, and using air purifiers can go a long way. Here's a practical tip. Use a vacuum cleaner with a HEPA filter. It might sound like a small thing, but it drastically reduces allergens in your environment. And then there's the part many people dread, treatment. The inhaler still carries a stigma, as if using it means weakness or dependency. But actually, it's one of the best allies for anyone living with asthma. Bronchodilators and corticosteroids are key to keeping symptoms in check, and when used correctly, they allow for a normal, active life. Add pulmonary rehab to the mix, targeted breathing exercises that improve lung capacity and oxygen flow, and you've got a game-changing combo. The truth is, breathing well takes work, but it also gives you freedom. Once you commit to adjusting your lifestyle, sticking to treatment, and building up your body, your quality of life shifts. And every bit of that effort is worth it, because the moment you become aware of what's limiting you, that's when everything begins to change. And since your learning journey is just getting started, there's another video on this channel that will open your mind even more. Doctors ignore it, patients suffer. The urgent truth about sickle cell disease. You'd be surprised how much it has in common with asthma. But first, let me ask you, what are you going to start doing today? Think about it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing on this path to transformation. Night, another coughing fit, another rush trip to the ER? The truth is, now you know, and once you know, there's no room for excuses. Breathing well isn't a luxury, it's the foundation. And your health needs you to step up, now more than ever. How many times have you thought everything was fine, when really, you were just used to living poorly? Now's the time to change that. What will you do today? Start an exercise routine? Schedule that checkup you've been putting off? Or simply start paying closer attention to your symptoms? Drop a comment. I genuinely want to know. And if this video opened your eyes, wait until you watch doctors ignore it, patients suffer. The urgent truth about sickle cell disease. Different condition, but the same silent neglect that can cost you dearly. Watch it after this one. What you'll learn there will deepen everything you've discovered here. Now hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for more content to help you breathe better from the inside out.